Alright folks, it's a few days now till I get off to the Malverns Classic, where we're going to be having a stand there right in amongst the pits. Now, fortunately and seriously lucky for us, one of our channel sponsors, Fenwick's bike cleaning products, has lent me their bike, this retro pace bike, to have in the stand. If you come in, come and have a look at it. If you're not, then I'm going to talk you through it anyway, because I think this bike is really worth a mention. First of all, this is called the Pace RC 500 F2 downhill bike. This bike was first developed in 1992 and was actually the world's first specific downhill bike. All other bikes that they used back in the day were just made from really cross-country bikes, to be honest. So this was your first big full suspension rig. This one here, this is a year 2000 model, so this is the last of the batch that they did before they stopped the production. If you look at this bike, there's features on it that really set it apart from other bikes from back in the day. We're running 26-inch wheels, as did every other bike back then. But look at the suspension, look at the gorgeous aluminium tubing on this. Each piece of this aluminium was separately milled, and you got different thicknesses all throughout the tubes. These things, apparently they were chucked on the milling machine, every single piece, loads of times, until they were finally put together on the jig and welded together. The seat post and seat tower here, as you can see, is detachable. So this made it so that you could have between a 69 and 67 degree seat angle. As you can see on here, we've got the race pace seat post that's lay back. We used to try and get these seats as far back as we could. So this is running the big, chunky, Physic downhill seat. Downhill seats, who has those nowadays? Down towards the shock here and around this linkage system, you've got a sort of slider, like a cam. This cam, as you adjust it, would actually alter the shock ratio, so you'd adjust that for different tracks, whether you've got big hits or whether it's steep in the woods and you want it to be a bit more supple. Even the cable stops and the axles on this bike were completely hand built. So I rang up Pace to talk to them a little bit about this bike, and they were a bit sketchy about some of the details, not knowing them off by heart, so I've had to do a little bit of measuring. Wheelbase, we got 1100mm, lovely and short. Back in the day we all wanted a short bike. It's running 660 on these bars, which as well was short. That's how we thought things had to be. We thought short, get through the trees, and it would be like really manoeuvrable. These bars, we got the race face aluminium, we've got a real big sweep up on them. Pace's own stem, that's 75mm long, and of course their own beautiful downhill forks. These, like the back end, sporting 150mm travel, that's 6 inches. Nobody talked about millimetres when it came to travel, it was how many inches? Good old inches. 6-inch travel downhill bike. The wheels, of course, 26, and we got the 26-inch Michelin spikes. These were the ones to have in the mud. I think we've got two different models here. It looks like you've got a front and a back, because this front one is slightly wider and a different profile than the rear. Hubs. We've got the Hope, and they're these, I think they were called bulbs, but these ones are like an anodised grey, which is really rare. You should think about bringing that back, Hope. Hope also on the brakes. These are the Hope brakes with the dial on the top to change the reach. I remember having a set of these myself and thinking they were seriously trick. They've also got the little Allen key adjusters in the ends of the levers to adjust the reach that way as well. We've got race face on the cranks going into the old school square spline bottom bracket, and a 42 tooth race face chainring, no thick and thin here. This thing is just held on by Pace's own top roller, and then we've got the Rooks bottom roller which attaches around the bottom bracket. This thing, of course, in XTR, we've got the 9-speed XTR rear mech, and looking at these lovely, lovely rims. Everybody wanted these then. These are the Mavic 321 discs. Disc meaning they were disc only, which is a big deal because it was quite new that things were going to disc only. So let's talk about costs. Back in the late 90s, this thing would have cost you, frame only, 1,495 quid. So you'd pretty much double that at least for nowadays. And then talking about the forks, these are the downhill only ones. These would have set you back 800 quid. So again, double that, 1,600 quid. This was absolutely top of the range. I dreamed of owning one of these. It's so cool to be able to have it and to be able to take it to the Malverns and showcase it there. Unfortunately, there's a couple of little bolts and bits and pieces missing out of it, so I won't be able to do the Legends race on it, as I really wanted to. A bit gutted about that. But if you're coming down, come and see us, come and have a look at the bike. If you're not, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. But before I go, there is some news I need to tell you from Pace, which I found very interesting. On talking to them, they have got a new bike coming out, and they say they're just starting to put it together now. This is a carbon, short travel, 29er, long, low, slack, kind of a trail bike, and they're going to be producing that soon, and then they're going to be moving on to a big hitting enduro bike. So I think you better get watching and keeping an eye on Pace to see what they bring out, because I certainly am. Hopefully you like this video. If you want to see more videos like this, click here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click here. Keep it pinned.